Yeah, this is a very interesting topic, and pretty much what you're talking about today is tips for newlywed couples. Okay, so Kathami, what's happening? And I think the most important conversation, especially when you get married to somebody, is the issue of finances. And people never want to have these conversations. And I feel like you should not wait until you're actually married to have the talk about money. This should be a continuous conversation over time because circumstances change. Things change over time. Maybe somebody gets a promotion, somebody gets a new job, somebody loses a job, or you're trying to, make new purchases. You're now married. Figure out how your life is going to work out and how it's going to make sense financially for the two of you. How are you making savings together? Are you having a joint account? Are you going to one day wake up and accuse somebody of financial infidelity? Are you going to have such feelings about the other person? So having the conversation about money is very important. And I actually remember a friend of mine who told me that she was her and her husband were very committed to that conversation about money. And even on their wedding night, people are thinking, oh, they're off to their honeymoon. Oh, so cute. Hiyo wedding night, hiyo siku walikuwa wanafungua envelope, mabahasha za harusi. Okay?
Yeah, how much did we make?
It was not a romantic thing. Yeah. They were very straightforward about these things, okay? They went back home and opened bahashas. One account, asma, hii ni Njeri. Ha, okay, very nice. Wanaekelea hapo. So it's very important to have and not be ashamed about having these conversations about money.
Yeah, I think thank you, Madam Producer, for reminding me that my time is running out. I appreciate that. Thanks. Another one is communication. I feel like, well, I know it sounds, and I saw this on a movie once. I think recently they said there's a difference between talking too much and communicating. Understand the difference. You could be talking, but you're not communicating. Do you guys have clear lines of communication? Do you guys actually take time, reserve time, to actually talk? Do you have a weekly check-in, a monthly check-in, every 2 weeks, every fortnight? Are you checking up on each other, figuring out where you're at, figuring out what the next steps in your relationship are, like just talking about you guys and your relationship? Or are you winging it? You will talk when you talk. You will talk when it's an issue, You will talk when there is something to be spoken about. Constant communication about how you're feeling, about your day, about your work. It's very, very important because the other person is now in a frame of mind of understanding. She had a tough day. This is what I can do for her. He had a successful day. I need to celebrate them in this way. All of these things are very, very, very vital. So communication is king in your relationship.
Yeah, and selfishness versus selflessness. You don't realize how selfish you are until you get into a relationship with somebody, or more so get into marriage with somebody, because you now shift from thinking about things that work for only you, and now you're thinking about things that work for all of you as a family. You're not going to just wake up and go get takeout for yourself and eat alone. You have to think about, did my partner eat? Are they okay? Are they hungry? And you have to give them a call and say, okay, I'm getting this and this and this. Do you want some food? That is how it should work. But then you realize sometimes you're like, hata yeye labda atajipanga, maybe they'll do something for themselves. Or you're in a situation where one partner is so selfless, they'll wake up, they'll prepare breakfast for you, they'll do all of these things for the two of you. It's an us thing, it's we, it's French. But when you wake up, you're thinking about you. Unapiga tu hesabu, nitaenda kazi, nipitie nichukue kahawa, nifanye hivi. At no point have you considered that you're married. You actually have a partner. You didn't ask what was for breakfast. You didn't ask what their plans were. You just stood up and went. Why? Well, you're not single anymore. You have somebody now. Yeah.
And as Turi has mentioned, unity. You are together. Let's not make it look like it's another major thing about, unfortunately, being in relationships nowadays is because it's been drilled in our systems to always look out for number one. It's been drilled in your system to always have a backup plan. Why? What if they die? What if the chickens come to hatch? What if he sees someone hotter? What if? Like, you're programmed. Every single day of your life as a child, you have been reminded men are trash. Now here you are with your man, and that messaging is still stuck. That programming is still stuck in your mind. And so you're always thinking about me, myself, and I. Tree just mentioned it. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about, I should pick up coffee for da-da-da, and then I have da-da-da, and then in the evening I have da-da-da. And at no point have you thought about your partner. You could have easily, in the same beat, ordered for coffee for the both of you and taken coffee out of home, or made coffee in the same house. So unity is a very, very important thing. You need to stop looking at it from a very holistically me thing to a holistically us thing. And I saw something here that they mentioned about changing your name, because it's very, that's the one thing that up until now is bugging me, because like all the emails that we're getting in our joint email address are Mr. Him, Mr. and Mrs. Him. Like, my name has been eradicated. I do not even exist.
Like, what's
I
this?
am not
What's
even
this?
a wife.
What's this?
I am still a fiance. Now, those small things start to irk you. You're like, wait, where am I disappearing in this other person's life? You know, dear Mrs. Yada yada. Me, where's my name? Even the government doesn't give the government doesn't care about me either. It's him. And you start to disappear in him. Are you planning on becoming a Mrs. Smith, a Mrs. Karanja, or are you planning on remaining Mrs. A Mrs. Faith, something, a Mrs. Kathomi Smith, a Mrs. Kathomi? What is the plan there? You need to have these conversations, otherwise you end up having such issues, and it is so tumultuous. Because for him, it's a pride thing. He's excited that now he's a Mr. and Mrs. But for you, you're like, but Mr. and Mrs., where's my name? You know, why am I, okay, fine, nice, a joint account, you'll be Mrs. Even the apps we use to buy food, it's always dear him, his name. I'm like, I want some level of independence. I still want my name to be very much in the foreground of our thoughts and our communication and all of these things. So these are very important to have conversations about. But ultimately, stop thinking in a selfish perspective, because trust me when I tell you, it's going to be difficult if you're always looking behind your back. He's supposed to be the one looking at the back. You look at his back, him looks at his back. You're turning off your brain. You think it's a joke? You turn off your brain whenever you get in a room with this person. Let them think for a change.
Yeah, and also fighting in a fair way. I think sometimes when you're fighting with somebody and you're in a disagreement with someone, you always want to win. You want to come out vindicated. You did this to me, or I did this, and this is why I did. You want to justify everything that happened. And a good example of fighting dirty is actually the viral clip we've been seeing of Kourtney and Kim Kardashian. As in, Kim went for blood, you know. She made it a thing of all of us are against
even
you.
Your children.
Even your children come to me. You know, somebody's fighting with you and they tell you, even your children come to me complaining about you. You can already see the intention and the malice involved. That was not necessary. So when you're fighting with somebody, make sure you can agree disagree in a respectful way. You know, yes, we can have disagreements about something, but it doesn't have to get dirty. You don't have to say that's why your mother looks like this, that's why your father is bald. Don't do that, you know. Like, we're a unit. We are fighting over something as simple as you didn't cover the sugar properly after you made your coffee, and then you're like, that is why you know your nails look like that. No. Keep your disagreements very respectful. It's okay to have them, but you don't have to be dirty all the time.
And I think just to add on to that, there's that level of vulnerability in relationships. And someone asked a very good question. What is vulnerability in your relationship? And I have never had a better answer than this. Vulnerability in your relationship is knowing that this person has the ability to destroy you. They have all the ammunition in their arsenal. They can rip you apart. They can break you down so hard that you have nothing left. Like, they know so much about you. They know everything about you that if they decided to kill you, they could with just words. You know, when you have just the exact phrase that you can tell somebody and it will ruin their day, their week, their month. When you have that level of ammunition in someone's life, you need to be even more careful. This is where you start to have things like fighting good and fighting clean. Clean fighting is very important because you can destroy this person, but you choose not to. Fighting with the memory, with the thought in your mind that this is not the end-all be-all fight.
True.
This is just another bump on the road. You are fighting not to break up. You are fighting because this is where we're at.
You wanna
But
solve
then you
something.
really did leave your socks at the front of the house, and now Turife has come into the house and there are socks in the walkway. What are we doing? What are we doing, babe? Can we sort this out? It's a fight for now. We're not breaking up. Yeah, fighting clean needs to come from those levels of motivation. And do we have time to look at others?
We can do one more very quickly.
Honesty. Honesty. People, and this is another bad one. Y'all ever had relationship advice, marriage advice from people? It's always, he shouldn't know everything about you. Why? Don't.
Be mysterious.
You are a woman. You need to have your secrets. Feature zingine. Pesa feature. Unajua mambo feature. Yako feature. Why are we doing this? Why are you marrying someone who you have to hide things from? Don't get married. There is no point. There's really no point in having lies. For your, what kind of nonsense?
And be wary of the in-laws. That's the thing. You know, everyone is always thinking, oh, evil. It's not stepmother, evil mother-in-law, evil father-in-law, evil sister-in-law. But it doesn't always have to be such a task to deal with other people in this person's life. Yes, you love your partner to the moon and back, but also they have lived their lives before. Okay, they have grown up with these people. This is somebody's son. This is somebody's brother. This is somebody's sister. So at the end of the day, you should also be very respectful of those relationships, while also enforcing boundaries. Because zingine hupita, I know myself. I've been in a situation where I was so close with my cousin. I would always be at her house, you know, and I couldn't see how this was actually affecting, you know, their lives, because they're newly married, but I'm always there. Nimetoka job, I don't want to go home, I just show up at their house. And you know, it took my mom telling me, you do realize they need a bit of some alone time. You know, she won't tell you, the groom won't tell you anything, but you know, they need some time on their own. So also create those boundaries. Don't be always resentful of somebody and you never told them. They have no idea. Exactly. They think, you know, they're happy to see me. You know, I am the life of this party. Their life would be so boring without
don't
me.
Be a third wheel. Please.
Tell people, establish boundaries so that it's not always a tug of war when it comes to
abrasive,
time. And the romance in the family, you know, keep it hot, okay?